I can give you what you seek, he whispered, stepping so close she could feel the cool brush of his breath on her skin. His hand lifted, fingers barely grazing the line of her jaw, and she shivered. But know this. Once you step into my world, there is no turning back. Ilara's breath hitched. His touch was electric, sending waves of heat coursing through her body. She knew she should pull away, that she was teetering on the edge of something dangerous. But instead she leaned into him, her lips parting as if to invite him closer. I want it, she breathed, her voice shaky but resolute. His eyes darkened, a flash of hunger crossing his face. Then it is done. In an instant, the space between them disappeared. His lips crashed against hers, his kiss filled with a fierce primal hunger that set her blood on fire. His hand slid over her body, claiming her with a possessive intensity that left no room for doubt. She was his now, bound to him by something far deeper than mere lust. The kiss deepened, and Ilara felt herself sinking into him, into the darkness that swirled around them. His touch was cold, but it ignited a heat within her that burned hotter than anything she had ever known. Every brush of his fingers, every press of his lips, sent her spiraling further into a whirlwind of desire. She gasped as his hands slid lower, pulling her against him. The world around them seemed to blur, and all she could feel was him, his body, his power, his need. It consumed her, filling the emptiness she had felt for so long. But there was something more, something dark and insidious creeping beneath the surface. "Is this what you wanted, little mortal?" he whispered against her ear, his voice dripping with amusement and something far more dangerous. "To be consumed by your own desires? To be bound to something you can never escape?" Ilara's head was spinning, her body trembling with need, but a flicker of doubt stirred within her. His words were like a cold splash of water, momentarily pulling her out of the haze of lust. She had wanted this, hadn't she? The ache, the longing, the feeling of being whole. But at what cost? Before she could think to answer, his hands tightened around her waist, pulling her even closer. "You belong to me now," he murmured, his lips brushing the sensitive skin of her neck, "and I will take everything you offer." She shuddered as his mouth moved lower, teeth grazing her skin, sending sparks of pleasure through her body. But deep in the pit of her stomach a chill had begun to form. The intensity of his desire was overwhelming, all-consuming, and she realized with a start that it wasn't just pleasure he sought, it was power, control. The Fae thrived on desire, but not in the way mortals did. They fed on it, twisted it, made it their own. As his lips pressed harder against her throat, Ilara gasped, the reality of her situation crashing down on her. She had been so blinded by the heat of the moment, by the pull of her own longing, that she hadn't realized she had walked straight into a trap. Her body still ached for him, still craved his touch, but now she understood the truth. Desire had a price, and she had just given herself to the shadows.